Okay, so welcome to practice, everybody. This practice, sometimes I do a sequence and we have time to kind of go through it twice on each side. This one, we're really only going to do the standing sequence once on each side, and that's partially because thematically this practice is all about the concept of luxury time. I chatted about this in some other spaces recently, but I had the privilege of spending some time in a spa environment recently, and they use this phrase luxury time to describe the length of your appointment. And there was a lot of language around like, welcome in for your luxury time, or how would you like to spend your luxury time today? What would you like to focus on for your luxury time? And it got me thinking about how really all time is luxury time. And when we come onto our mats in particular, we get to really drop into that reality a little bit more intentionally. So we're going to start on our backs in resting pose. That means that your feet can be the width of your mat. The inner knees can sort of tent together. And then there's several different options for the hands, but the main ones are either resting on the lower belly, which can be very grounding, alongside the body with the palms facing up. Or if you're really in more of an open, receptive mood, you could bring the arms overhead and kind of hold one hand in the palm of the other. And so making a choice that really meets your needs where they are in this moment. We'll take about 5 to 7 breaths just grounding here. And really dropping into the realization that the next 45 minutes is a very intentional span of luxury time that you have chosen to spend on yourself and your practice. As you enjoy a few more breaths landing here, you may feel the back ribs soften and melt into the mat, relaxing the soles of your feet. And then if you had closed the eyes, begin to blink them open. We're going to enjoy about 30 seconds of invigoration here. So I'm going to invite you to extend your feet and hands up towards the ceiling. So legs and arms reaching up towards the ceiling, and we're going to shake for 30 seconds. So you can just start to shake. I've heard this called tantrum asana, which I think gives a really funny visual. If you have kiddos or have seen small kiddos, you've probably seen 2 or 3-year-olds doing something along these lines. Keep going for about 12 more seconds. Great for circulation, giving the heart a rest here. 5, 4, 3, 2. Bring your left foot down to the mat. Keep your right leg extended up and just gently take a hold of the back of the right leg. Coming into a version of Supta Padangusthasana A. Now, if your hamstring is feeling a little tender today, you might keep that left knee bent, the left foot on the mat. If you feel ready to extend the left leg to the front of your space, you could do that, but try to resist the temptation for that right hip to shrug up towards the shoulder. Keep a lot of space in the right side waist. Give yourself one more full in-breath here, and then we're going to open wide to Supta Padangusthasana B, sweeping that right leg wide and out to the side. Notice how the left side of the body, particularly those back left ribs, get really floaty here. See if you can melt them down towards the mat. And then sweeping back up to center, half happy baby pose. Bend the right knee, take a hold of the outer right foot or ankle. Let the top of the right thigh and knee melt in towards the mat. We've got some lunges later on in the practice. This is a beautiful way to introduce the body to that shape. And then coming into reclined tree pose, you're going to bring the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. Sweep the arms out and overhead, and then as if you were coming into the banana pose, you can shift the shelf of your shoulders to the right slightly and lean the torso to the right as if you were in a lateral bend. Another way to think of it is the right elbow is kind of bending down towards your right knee and thigh. And you take a couple of breaths, really opening up some space in the left side body. Next, inhale. You can recenter the torso on your mat. Hug your right knee into the chest. And then rock and roll. Use the momentum of that bent right leg to swing yourself up to seated. We're going to take an uncrossed Ardha Matsyendrasana A. So left hand to that right knee. Right arm comes up, back, and around, taking a nice, gentle spinal twist. We're still very much in the warm-up phase, so no need to be aggressive about any of these shapes. And then last couple of poses in this warm-up, you're going to turn the head to look forward, walk the hands all the way around to your left. Take your left leg diagonally off your mat a little bit so that your right knee can internally rotate and drop down. And then see, you might need to stay up on the palms, or you might be able to melt down onto the forearms here. Take a couple of breaths just to feel that internal rotation in the right leg, that deep twist in the lower belly, mid-thoracic. And then we're going to fire up the outer right hip as we lift that right inner knee and thigh away from the mat. Now we're going to take 5 pulses up towards the ceiling here as we pulse up for 1, for 2, for 3, getting that outer hip engagement for 4. Last one, squeeze your right heel tightly in towards your glute, as tight as you can get. And then don't think so much about the foot. I want you to think of sliding your right knee back until you feel your right glute engage for 1. Pulsing for 2. For 3, feel that right glute get nice and tight. 4. Hold it for 5. Then gently release that right foot down. You're going to spin up and around, opening to Janu Sirsasana A. So right knee all the way open, left leg will come back onto the mat. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And then folding forward over that left leg. 3 big breaths here. We haven't really checked in with the left hamstrings yet, so this might give you a sense of what we're working with on this side of the body. Last full breath. And then reaching the fingertips forward and up. First opportunity for a vinyasa tonight as you cross the ankles, plant the palms, step yourself back to your plank position, strong and steady. Maybe you take a knees, chest, and chin this first round, or maybe you're ready for chaturanga. Choose what's right for you. Sliding forward for either a cobra, which is what I'm taking, or an up dog. And then first downward facing dog at the practice. We'll pause for 3 full breaths. Welcoming in any movement that feels good to you. And so even though we're moving at a steady pace in the practice, making sure we're not feeling rushed, thinking of every breath as an expression of luxury. Look to the center of your mat. You're going to hop through and recline onto your back as we move through that whole sequence on the second side. Starting with the left knee in towards the chest, right foot stays on the mat. Extend that left leg up towards the ceiling. Take a moment to check in. Does it feel good to keep the right knee bent? Or do you feel like you have the space to extend and straighten that right leg towards the front of your space? Long, luxurious exhales here. Supta Padangusthasana B, sweeping that left leg out to the side. Sometimes silence feels like a luxury, especially if we share our homes with other human beings or people that need us. Sweep that left leg back to center, half happy baby. So there will be times in this practice that I really intentionally move my voice back so that you can enjoy the luxury of quiet in your practice. Reclined tree pose, left foot to the right inner thigh, arms sweep overhead, and then you form that lateral bend as you kind of slide the shelf of the shoulders to the left, left elbow moving down towards the left knee and thigh. And a lot of these shapes that we are visiting in the warm-up will be recreated in the standing sequence. Many of them in balancing postures, so enjoy the stability of being on the mat now. Come back to center with the torso. Lift your left knee towards the ceiling and then use the momentum of the legs to sit up, moving into that uncrossed Ardha Matsyendrasana A, right hand to left knee, twisting around. Feeling that left foot gently pressing into the mat so that you keep some energy and awareness in that left leg. And then you turn the head forward, keep walking the hands to your right. This time you'll move the right leg kind of slightly off your mat so the inner left knee can drop down. You may stay up on the hands or melt down to the forearms. And then engaging that outer glute and thigh, lifting that left leg, we pulse for 5, for 1, for 2, for 3, for 4. Hold it up, 5. Pull your left heel in towards your glute and then think of the left knee moving back until you feel that glute. And 2, that's it, yes. And 3, and 4, and 5. Drop it down, push up on the palms, rotate and spin that left knee open, right leg towards the middle of your mat. Janu Shirshasana, sweep the arms out and up. Folding into your head to knee pose, 3 full breaths. Sometimes all we get time for is 3 slow, unrushed breaths. So making that feel luxurious and unrushed. And then moving through the vinyasa of your choice as you cross your ankles and make your way back to your plank and deciding what feels right for you at this point in your practice. Maybe staying with the knees, chest, and chin in cobra. Maybe doing a half chaturanga or full. We all meet in downward facing dog, and that concludes the warm-up. We're going to start to shift into the sun salutation portion of the practice. So in your next inhale, shift the gaze to the front of your mat. Take your time as you tiptoe or walk your feet forward to the front of your space. When you get there, dangling for a couple of breaths in your first Uttanasana. And we'll start our first of 2 half salutations from right here. So bringing the fingertips onto the shins, lift up halfway, crown of the head forward, inner thighs pushing back. Exhale, release that, returning to forward fold. Rising up to our first mountain pose, arms sweep out and all the way up to mountain. And then hands into heart center. We'll do 1 more half salutation, sweep those arms out and all the way up. And folding over the legs. Inhale, half lift long through the spine. Exhale, a sense of softening in the release on the fold. Rising up, maybe looking at the thumbs. Hands to heart center. 2 Surya Namaskaram A. Sweep the arms out and up. Folding over the legs. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale takes you back through your plank and through your chaturanga. In breath moves you into your back bend. Out breath pulls you into your down dog. We'll take 3 breaths. 3, 2. Inhaling to look forward, exhaling to travel forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Rooting through the feet, rising up through the spine. Inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. 1 more Surya Namaskaram A. In breath, out and up. Out breath, long spine fold. In breath, pull the heart forward. Out breath, step the feet back. Lower chaturanga. In breath, back bend of choice. Out breath, down dog, hold for 3. Feel the root through the knuckles of the hands, a gentle hugging of the mat through the pads of the fingers. A sense of pushing the mat away so you lengthen through the outer arms. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, walking or stepping forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. 2 Surya Namaskaram lunge salutations or integral salutations. Release the arms, take your breath in. Exhale, bring the palms together, position 1. This is our 12 positions. Reach the arms forward, up and back, bend is 2. Folding over the legs is 3. We will lead with the left foot, stepping to the back of the mat, melting the knee down. You could keep the fingertips down, or if you're ready to sweep them forward and up, take your in-breath here, position 4. Position 5 is downward facing dog. Keeping a steady, flowing pace forward, either knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga. Taking your back bend. Downward facing dog. No pause here. We keep it rolling. Left foot forward, right knee melts down. Maybe keeping fingertips down like I am, or inhale, arms rise. Exhale, right foot steps forward, meets the left at the front of the space. Sweeping the arms out, up, back bend opportunity at the top, 11. Close it out, 12. One more just like that. Release the arms, stand tall. Exhale, palms of the hands together, 1. Sweeping the arms forward, up and back. Folding over the legs, 3. Leading with that right foot, step it back, melt the knee down, keep it simple. Maybe the arms rise, 4. Step it back, downward facing is 5. Either knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga. Cobra or upward facing. Downward facing. Right foot forward. Maybe arms lift on the inhale. Exhale, Uttanasana 10. Rising 11. Heart center. Releasing the arms, closing the eyes, taking about 5 breaths for a micro meditation. A moment of pause in the practice. Thinking of the things that we identify as luxurious are often the things that are rare, they're precious, there aren't that many of them. And in many respects, we never know how many more breaths we have, how much more time we have. Therefore, making every breath, every moment luxurious. We're going to move into a longer standing sequence. In the middle of it, it has a pretty long balancing sequence that kind of ties together a variety of different balancing poses. If you start to feel any achiness in the anchored or standing leg, take a break, shake it out, take a breath or 2, come back in when you're ready. Okay? We are going to start at the front of the mat. We'll take kind of like a sun salutation just to get to down dog, and then the sequence really starts from down dog. So you can find your way at the front of your space. Again, just one time through this standing sequence. We'll spend about 3 to 4 breaths in each pose. As you inhale, sweep the arms out and all the way up. And then as you exhale, folding forward over the legs. Give yourself a half breath here just because it feels good. And then just step yourself back to down dog. No need to take the vinyasa. We've got enough challenge headed our way. And then we'll really start the sequence from here. So I'm going to release my head, looking towards the back of the mat, and just float my right leg up like a 3-legged dog. This is the first pose in this sequence, so really treat it like a pose. Keep the left heel heavy. Reach the right heel up towards the ceiling. If your hips had headlights attached to them, they should both be shining down towards your mat. And then keep pushing the mat away from you, lengthening the side body. Give yourself one more in-breath here, and then we're going to come into funky pigeon pose. So lift your head, look at the space in the middle of your mat about 6 inches behind your wrists, and step your right foot right into that space. Middle of the mat, about 6 inches behind your wrists. Now open up onto the pinky side edge of your right foot and wiggle your left foot back about 4 to 6 inches. Instead of dumping down, I actually want you to keep your hips slightly lifted and then pull your right hip up and back. And you'll feel this pull through the outer right hip. Keep pushing the mat away so the arms are really active. It's almost like a mini crow sensation in the upper back. Take one more full breath here in this really funky pigeon. And then you hop your left foot in just that 4 to 6 inches to make up that space that you had wiggled back. Inhale, sweep your right leg back up, three-legged dog, and then step straight forward and through to Asana, right foot, and left knee melt down. Feels good to be back in a pose we know. Walk the hands up onto the right thigh. We're going to be here for a series of breaths, okay? There's going to be 3 deepening options here. First one is just to stay here, hands on the thigh, melting and scooping the pelvis down and forward. This is all about the quads, so I want you to feel your left quad stretching. Option 2, lift your back knee, clasping hold of either the top of the foot or the front of the ankle. Notice how my hips lifted to get the bind. See if I can drop back in a little bit once I get my hold, okay? Final option, double bind. So my other hand is going to sweep back, also find the top of the foot or the ankle. And then same thing when I get it, I'm going to try to drop back in, roll my shoulders onto the back, maybe lift my head slightly. One more breath here. And then I'm going to release with control. Drop my left toes down. Everybody tuck the back toes. Sweep the arms forward and up like a puppeteer picks you up. Rise up into high lunge. Nice strong press. 2. Enjoy the stability because we're about to move into that long balancing sequence. We're coming forward to eagle pose. You could do one big step forward, left thigh is going to come over right, or 2 smaller steps. You decide. Right arm is going to come underneath the left, wrapping the arms, finding your eagle pose. We're here for 3, for 2. We're going to lift up to stork pose to transition to standing pigeon. So hands come to heart center. Inhale, lift the left knee, and then make your figure 4, left ankle over right knee, and start to sit down into your standing pigeon. You could stay really elevated and high, or you could take the center of gravity deep and low. Long through the spine, smooth in the breath. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana A and B. Right hand to the right side of the waist. Peace fingers around your left big toe. You already did this on your back. Inhale, stand up tall. Get your balance. Focus your gaze. Find your drishti. Maybe start to extend the left leg forward. Maybe right arm lifts. 3, 2. You're going to open up to B. Maybe the right arm comes a little wider just to counter that balance. Sweep back into center. Stork pose. Bend the knee, hands to heart center, get your balance. Last big balancing pose. Warrior 3, but your left knee is going to stay at a 90-degree angle. So you swing it down and back, but your left foot is going to look up to the ceiling. You remember those 5 pulses? We do them here. So kick your left foot up to the ceiling for 5. For 4, feel that left glute. For 3. For 2. For 1, crescent moon, cross your left foot behind your right, hold your left wrist, Lean to the right, so I'll face you. And then lift and connect left elbow to left knee. 2 more times. Left leg crosses, lean and reach. And then lift up, left knee and left elbow. It's like I think I should call that like a tree frog pose. One more time, lean. That's what it looks like to me anyways. Left elbow to left knee. Now you're gonna sit all the way down, Ardha Matsyendrasana B. So tuck your left toes, bend and see if you can control that descent as you come down. Left hand to right knee, right arm up, back, and around. And no need to worry, I'm not gonna make you to come back to standing without hands. You just get to go to a different pose from here. So take 2 more breaths, enjoy the twist. You're gonna step out wide to Prasarita Padottanasana. So hands walk to the left and your left foot's gonna step all the way out. And you're gonna find your wide-legged forward fold. I'm gonna give you a better view and face the camera for this. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, walk your hands back in line with your feet, fold forward. Enjoy 2 more breaths here. Inhale, walk your hands forward right underneath your line of sight. We do thread the needle a lot in warm-ups on our knees, but we're gonna do it here. So keep your right hand down on the mat, but inhale, lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, thread your left arm underneath and behind the right and towards the back of your mat. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach left arm up. Exhale, thread it under and through. 1 more time, reach it up. This time as you thread it through, find any part of your right leg that you can. It may be the outer thigh, calf, or ankle. Your right hand is probably gonna need to slide over to the right a little bit. And then fold in. Enjoy, it's both a twist and a forward fold. Feels really nice on the low back. And then inhale, lift the head. Funky balance here. Bring your left hand to the left side of your waist. Release the twist in the spine. Now my right hand is about 2/3 of the distance away from my left foot, and I'm gonna anchor down into that. Then I'm gonna bring my right foot towards my left. I'm gonna connect my inner knees and lift my right foot. And so I'm in this horizontal arm balance with my right palm and my left foot for 3, for 2, stepping the right foot back out, Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, drop back into your forward fold. Headstand opportunity for those of you that want it and love it. Otherwise, just stay in Prasarita. I am going to give you a funky kind of tilted tick-tock in a side split here if you want to take it. So head would come down to the mat. Palms, make sure you can see your fingers and start to lift up. If this is in your practice, rising up into a side split. Point those toes. Now we're going to tick-tock from side to side. Tick-tocking to the right, tap your right toes down to the mat. Tick-tock to the left, tap your left toes. 2 more each side, right and left. And last time, right and left. Square it back up. Return to Prasarita, feet on the mat. Inhale, lift up. Last pose in the sequence. Walk hands to the front of the mat. Half crow, hands on the mat. Left knee to your left tricep. Pick up your left heel to your left glute and hold right there for 3. For 2. Step it back, Vinyasa. Flow it out. And up. Down dog or child's pose. 5 breaths before we do that entire sequence on the second side. Thinking about how you treat things that are luxurious, you tend to treat them with more care. You tend to appreciate them. So if time, if breath, if your body are all luxurious, how would you treat them? And then looking, we're going to start that sequence on the second side by floating the left leg up towards the ceiling, and here we go. 3 breaths here in three-legged dog. Melt the right heel down. Lift the left heel up. Push the mat away. Feel the sides of the body lengthen. Last in-breath here. Step it through. Funky pigeon in the middle of the mat, about 6 inches behind the wrists. And then you open up onto the pinky side edge. Wiggle the right foot back about 6 inches or so. We don't dump down. We keep the hips lifted. And then the left hip is lifting up and back. Keep pushing the mat away. Strong through the arms. A little bit of a crow sensation in the upper back. One more in-breath there. And then as you prepare to come out, you probably need to hop the back foot in just a little bit. Inhale, sweep that left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it straight back through Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Walk the hands up onto the left thigh. Notice if you need to concentrate on lengthening that exhale. I do. My breath's a little bit quickened. And then either staying here or maybe coming into that first stage of the bind with one foot. Knowing that it's really natural to come out to find the bind, but then try to reassert that deepening sensation. If you're coming into the second hand of the bind, sweep around. Roll the shoulders onto the back. Drop in, 2 more breaths. And then really concentrated release here. Tuck the back toes. Arms reach straight up. And then we'll see how it goes this time around. Maybe a little bit better balance, pressing up to our high lunge. Holding 2. Often the simplest things turn out to be the hardest. Okay, huge transition forward here to eagle pose, okay? Maybe take a couple of steps. Stepping forward, crossing right thigh over left, left arm under right, settling in. You've got 3 breaths here. Feeling this sense of luxury time. It's unrushed. Enjoying what's here. Stork position, hands to prayer. Lift that right knee and then find your figure 4, right ankle over knee, and start to settle down into your standing pigeon pose. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana A, left hand to waist, peace fingers around the big toe, stand straight up, get your balance, find your dristi. Right leg starts to extend partially or fully, maybe the left arm lengthens as well. Open it out to B. Back into A. Stork pose for just a moment, and then that funky right angle warrior 3. So the right leg passes through, and then the right foot is straight up to the ceiling as we pulse for 1, for 2, for 3, for 4, for 5. Crescent moon, cross the right foot behind the left, hold the right wrist, lean, enjoy that side body stretch, and then connect right elbow to right knee. 2 more, cross it behind, lean and stretch, and then connect, Smooth and controlled. This is really hard. One more time. Cross, you're like, I know, because I'm wiggling all over the place. Me too. Last time, our little rainforest frog here. And then we get to sit with control. So you kind of point those back toes. I like to reach my arms forward because it counters my balance. And then Ardha Matsyendrasana B, finding my spinal twist. After that long, challenging balancing sequence, enjoying feeling grounded. Taking it out and open, Prasarita Padottanasana, hands to the right, stepping that right foot wide. Folding in, hands walk back. Take a couple breaths just to find that Prasarita. And I know sometimes teachers, I've certainly done it over the years, say to shift your weight towards the toes. I don't necessarily want it fully towards the toes. I just don't want it all in your heels. So feeling a little bit more centered in your feet is maybe a more accurate depiction of where I'd like you to feel yourself in your body. Start to walk your hands forward. And then this time the left hand is going to stay down on the mat as we sweep the right arm up towards the ceiling. And then it's that threading of the needle as you thread under and reach through. 2 more. Inhale, open up. Exhale, twist and reach. 3rd and final time, reach it up. Last time that you twist, find anywhere on that left leg that's accessible to you. Fold in. This is a twist. This is a forward fold. It's all the yummy things. Enjoy it. And then releasing that twist, walk the hands back to center. We get to do this headstand play one more time, folding in. You decide what level of this makes sense for you. This is not a headstand class today, so this is just an option if it's in your practice. Maybe lifting up, finding your side split upside down. And then these tick-tocks were available as you tap left toes and right toes, feeling that little dip in the pelvis from side to side. We take 3 of those taps on each side. And then we come back to center. Feet find their way back to the mat. Prasarita, inhale, walk the hands forward. Find yourself at the front of your mat. Last pose of the practice. Right knee is going to come behind the tricep. Hug it in. You're in that kind of half crow position. Make sure you do the other side. 3, 2, and Vinyasa. Last little Vinyasa here. Downward facing dog. We're going to immediately come into a closing seated sequence. Pigeon pose on the right. Right knee comes forward. Classic pigeon, tail feathers reach for the back of the mat. We're going to keep it up and active today, so keep the hands in, keep the torso proud and open. If you want to bring it into the bind that we did in our low lunge, this is the time to take it. So you could lift that back shin, find 1 bind, maybe reach it around, and find 2. 1 more breath here. And then gently releasing. Gomukhasana. We're going to swing that left leg all the way around. I'll face you for this. Left knee on top of right. If that's not available, you could always just take a stacking of the foot outside. Okay, so kind of just going as far as you can in the shape. We're not going to fold forward, but we are going to do the arms. So taking the arms out wide. Right arm internally rotates, sweeps down, walks up the back. Left arm reaches up and bends down. If the fingertips do not naturally meet, fine. Just make soft fists and gently push the fists against the back. Think energetically of the left elbow lifting up towards the ceiling. Yes. Give yourself one more in-breath. You're going to come right into Baddha Konasana from here, gently releasing the bind of the arms. Bring the soles of the feet together. Peace fingers find the big toes. As you inhale, lifting up. As you exhale, elbows back as the heart pulls forward. Seeing if you can soften the muscles of the face. And we'll start to come into a balance from here. So we lengthen out and upright. And we start to tilt back, finding our balance on the sitting bones. You may stay in this butterfly position, perfectly fine. You might begin to extend in an upward boat position that's bound by straightening the legs, holding the big toes. And then we'll gently release the big toes. It's the final vinyasa of the practice. As you cross the ankles, plant, move through. And final side of this grounded sequence, left knee forward, pigeon pose. Ekapada Rajakapotasana. We're working with a version of Rajakapotasana 2. So if you want the bind, bending that back shin, maybe finding one foot with one hand, maybe finding that same foot with a second hand. And then Gomukhasana, swinging that right leg around, stacking right knee over left. Left arm down, right arm up. And I often notice that my hips tend to tighten here, like lifting me off my mat. So the more I can kind of relax my seat, particularly my left hip on this side, the more I'll get out of the stretch. And then we gently release. Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Take your big peace fingers around the big toes, big breath in. Folding forward, nice long spine. So this is full of integrity. As you start to lift up, you return first to that neutral, beautiful, tall posture, and then you start to lean back, finding that balance point. Maybe you start to extend the legs. Love some of the variations I'm seeing, beautiful. We will take this into our Savasana, so if you want to take a couple of breaths in boat pose along the way down, you could. Kind of taking a brief little pause in your boat, maybe lowering to a canoe or a kayak, and then eventually finding your way to Shavasana. Checking in with the soles of the feet, the palms of the hands, releasing any tension there. Checking in with the buttocks, the abdomen, letting go of any tension there. Recognizing that the essence of luxury is that it is finite. Not everyone has it. And therefore, that same lesson can really apply to our own breath, our own body, our own life. We don't know how many more breaths we have, how much more time we have with this gloriously able body. And so relishing in that luxury now. while we have it. Take one more breath exactly as you are. And then you can begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, allowing the breath to become more invigorating, until eventually, in your own time, you make your way back up to a comfortable seat. And we close the practice either bringing the hands somewhere on the body, it's just a gesture of gratitude, or if you feel comfortable, bringing the palms of the hands together. We ask that the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light, which sounds like these 4 words in Sanskrit. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Victory to all of our practices. Jai.